We can prove this. So we were filming the Mass on Pentecost Sunday, Bishop Athanasius Schneider's Mass. It was hot out. Sun was out. It was a long 2.5-hour Mass, I think. Just a sea of humanity, 20,000. And I walked through with a camera, and everywhere I went, these young scouts and kids, these young traditional Catholics, just kneeling bolt upright on the ground. You didn't see anybody running off. You certainly didn't see anybody talking or snickering or doing what kids would normally do at an event they didn't care about. These are well-trained, well-formed Catholics. And I think that's the big difference. This is serious. They're not messing around. So the thing is absolutely real. It doesn't need to be expanded upon. For example, this year there was a lot of reportage right now going on that Pope Leo has sent a message to the pilgrims. I don't think he did. I quite honestly don't think he did. I think Bishop Christori here, the Bishop of Chartres, read a message in which he was sort of saying, of course, the Pope is with you. He's with all pilgrims who are trying to find Christ in the world. I have his words right here. It says, "Nous avons connaissance que le Pape Léon prie pour que chaque pèlerin vive une rencontre personnelle avec le Christ," okay, which is, we know that Pope Leo prays that every pilgrim may have a personal encounter with Christ. Okay, it's too early. It's too early to say. I just don't think that was a specific, because I remember the old ones from years ago. It would be, the Holy Father has a message for the Chartres pilgrims, and then it would always start, "Chers pèlerins," it was from the Pope. "Dear pilgrims, I greet you and I encourage you," and it was signed by the Pope and the Secretary of State. This didn't happen like that. So I suppose it's possible that His Excellency Bishop Christori received some sort of communication from the Vatican, but from the recounts that I read, I don't think it was that. But the reason I bring it up is because you don't need to expand on what's happening here. This is just such a magnificent thing. If I could just have my cameraman, for example, turn to the left. This is just random. We've been seeing this all weekend long here in Chartres. This is the sort of manifestation of the faith, of the religious life that's obviously coming back. In fact, I'll tell you a little tidbit before I sign off. I'm so excited. The Chartres pilgrimage always makes me crazy excited. But we had a tour inside of here today, inside the Chartres Cathedral, with Malcolm Miller, the famous Malcolm Miller. And Malcolm Miller is a bit of a cynic, but he knows the cathedral like nobody else in the world. He's the English-speaking authority on this place. And he asked me as we were leaving, he said, "Are you seeing in the States a revival of enthusiasm amongst young people for the faith?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because I keep hearing about this, that there's a revival of Catholicism, that the young people are very interested again in the faith." And I said, "Yeah, it's absolutely true. You saw your cathedral yesterday, right? It was packed out with kids." So yeah, there's so many things that are so wonderful. We have to pray for the pilgrimage, pray for the organization. They're right on the razor's edge, as I said last week, trying to make sure that they continue to have this event at the heart and center of the mainstream church, so it can influence everything else. As exactly as Archbishop Lefebvre wanted to do. He didn't want to just find a mass for himself. He wanted to try to bring the traditional mass to everybody, so everyone would have access to it. We need to pray for that. And you know what? Faith, manifestation of hope. Everybody here is full of hope. They're full of joy. They're not dour, like, "Oh, we're going to talk about how evil Vatican II was, and I'm going to talk about..." Yeah. No. They just want to live their faith. They're just in love with God. They're in love with Our Lady. That's it. They walk through the woods and through the fields, singing their hearts out of love. So it's a matter of faith and hope and love, right? That's what this pilgrimage is all about. True Catholic love for the faith, and you can't help it. I see these spires from this church, from 20 miles away or whatever on Pentecost Sunday night or Monday morning, and it brings tears to my eyes. We're in love with this building. Everybody here, everybody who does the Chartres pilgrimage is in love with what's happening here, because it represents reviving the faith of our fathers, and that's the point and purpose of this pilgrimage. So I don't know, guys. I just want to encourage everybody. I'll tell you what. I'll shut up now. I'll sign off. But I want you to know one thing. This event is so incredibly hopeful. There's nothing about it that's artificial. Nobody's pulling your leg this time. Nobody's asking for your money. Nobody wants money. Money has nothing to do with any of this. Everything about it is absolutely genuine and absolutely Catholic. You have my word on that. And am I going to live to see the restoration of the Catholic Church? I don't know. I doubt it. But in my lifetime, probably not. But I know when they write the book, the history book, about how the Catholic Church rose up out of the ashes of modernist chaos, the Chartres pilgrimage is going to be cited as Exhibit A of the first sign of the fact that the people of God, Christians, Catholics, traditional Catholics, had not been defeated by the revolution, that they still believed, that they still had hope. No matter what happens, they were able to say, you didn't get us. You did not get us. We kept the faith. No matter what they do to us, we kept the faith, and we kept on smiling, we kept on loving, we kept on hoping, right? And so that to me, I'm absolutely positive that one day, when the history is written, the Chartres pilgrimage will figure prominently in the restoration that we all are looking forward to, and it is right now happening all over the world before our eyes. How do I know? Because I just spent 3 days watching. It's happening. It's real.